It was a bright, warm afternoon in San Diego. Families filled the stands of Ocean World Stadium, children bouncing with excitement, parents raising phones to capture memories. The star of the show was about to perform, not just the killer whale Kanak, but also Jake Lawson, the park's lead trainer and beloved local celebrity. Jake was more than just a showman. He was Ocean World's golden boy, 15 years in, known nationwide as the Whale Whisperer, a man who preached connection over control. He wasn't afraid to get in the water with 6-ton predators. In fact, he insisted on it. While other trainers followed strict guidelines, Jake had always believed that mutual trust, not fear, was the key to bonding with orcas. And for over a decade, that philosophy worked, until the day it didn't. Jake Lawson grew up in Monterey, California. As a child, he was obsessed with marine life. While most kids watched cartoons, Jake devoured documentaries about dolphins and whales. He got his degree in marine biology and at age 23 landed a job at Ocean World. Within 5 years, he'd risen through the ranks, known for his charisma with crowds and uncanny ability to connect with whales. He met Kanak in 2010. The orca was already 7 years old, born in captivity and trained from birth. While most trainers kept their distance, Jake got in the water on day 1. Their bond grew fast. Jake often referred to Kanak as his big brother. Trainers said Jake could enter the pool without a single command, and Kanak would immediately swim to him, eyes soft, movements slow. It was mesmerizing to watch, but behind the smiles and flawless shows, there were early warning signs. Kanak wasn't like the other orcas. He was larger, quieter, and more unpredictable. Trainers noticed he'd sometimes ignore commands, slap the water violently with his tail, or stay at the bottom of the pool longer than expected. A few times he lunged during training. Management brushed it off. He's spirited, they'd say, part of his charm. Jake, too, began to notice changes. Kanak's eyes didn't hold the same softness. He became possessive, especially during post-show interactions. Jake wrote memos recommending rest days, changes to routine, even a psychological assessment. He was ignored. Ocean World was booming. Ticket sales were up. The Jake-Kanak duo was a media goldmine, and the public adored the spectacle. Videos of Jake riding on Kanak's back, diving in sync, even hugging the whale mid-performance racked up millions of views. The higher-ups weren't about to put their best act on pause. February 17, 2023, a day like any other, or so it seemed. Jake arrived at the park early. Some said he seemed distracted that morning, quieter than usual. Others reported that he and Kanak had spent over 30 minutes alone in the tank before the show, longer than normal. One assistant trainer recalled something chilling. Jake emerged from the water and muttered, "Something's off today," before shaking it off and heading to the stage. Kanak's behavior had been strange all week. He circled the tank erratically, clicked less, ate slower. Some said he seemed agitated by loud sounds. Still, the show was greenlit. At 2:00 p.m., the stadium was packed. Over 2,000 guests, many with kids. The theme music blared, the announcer welcomed the crowd, and Jake dove into the water with a dazzling smile. The crowd roared. Kanak appeared moments later graceful, massive, majestic. For the first few minutes, everything went perfectly. Tail slaps, synchronized spins, a massive breach that soaked the front row. Then came the moment everyone waited for, the underwater ballet. Jake would dive, spin, and Kanak would mirror him, man and beast in perfect harmony. That's when everything fell apart. At 2:08 p.m., Jake gave a subtle hand cue. Kanak didn't respond. Instead, he sank. Trainers tried to redirect him with underwater buzzers. Nothing. Then, without warning, Kanak surged upward at full speed, smashing into Jake from below. The crowd gasped, some still thinking it was part of the act. Jake flew out of the water, slammed back down, then was dragged under. Trainers rushed to their positions, throwing fish, banging on the gates. Emergency protocols were activated, doubt platforms deployed, net barriers lowered, but Kanak had no intention of stopping. Underwater cameras captured what they later described as calculated aggression. Kanak held Jake in his jaws, torso clamped, arms flailing, then let go, only to slam him again. Blood began to rise to the surface. The crowd realized this wasn't part of the show. Screams echoed. Parents grabbed children, staff shouted into radios. Some trainers even tried to distract Kanak by slapping the water and throwing bait. Nothing worked. Jake briefly resurfaced, barely conscious. Witnesses said he mouthed the words, "Help me," before being dragged under again. At 2:14 p.m., the stadium was cleared. Security blocked cameras, parents sobbed in panic, and EMT waited helplessly by the tank. The final blow came at 2:15 p.m., when Kanak launched into a full body breach, coming down on Jake's chest with over 12.0 pounds of force. He didn't resurface. Chapter 5. The aftermath. Jake was retrieved 7 minutes later, lifeless. Emergency crews performed CPR for 20 minutes. Declared dead at 2:41 p.m. Autopsy results revealed multiple fractures, ribs, spine, skull. He had drowned, but internal trauma suggested he may have died moments before the final breach. The public demanded answers. Ocean World issued a press release calling it a tragic accident, praising Jake's legacy. But internally, panic had set in. Former employees came forward, emails, incident reports, safety warnings. Memos from Jake himself recommending a break for Kanak, all ignored. One former trainer revealed he had quit after a close encounter with Kanak just 6 months earlier. They said I was overreacting, that Kanak was just moody. Whistleblowers exposed a dark underbelly, overworked animals, undertrained staff, and a culture of silence. Ocean World's profits came first. Warnings came last. Kanak was placed in isolation, still alive, but visibly agitated. He refused food for 2 days. Experts debated whether to euthanize, release, or transfer him. Animal rights groups erupted. Protests formed outside Ocean World. Petitions gained millions of signatures calling for the end of Orca captivity. Psychologists pointed to Kanak's upbringing. Born in confinement, trained with fish and whistles, denied social bonds of the wild. Orcas in the wild swim up to 100 miles a day, live in matriarchal pods, form lifelong bonds. In captivity, they circle tanks and perform for crowds. Some believed the attack was premeditated, a final rebellion, a desperate scream for freedom. Others saw it as a tragic anomaly, a bond gone wrong. But the truth may lie somewhere in between. Jake Lawson believed in connection, in trust. He saw whales not as performers, but as equals. He gave his life to that belief, and in the end, that belief cost him everything. His funeral drew thousands. Former trainers, marine biologists, families who had seen his shows. Kanak, meanwhile, remained in captivity, silent. Jake's story is now taught in training programs, a cautionary tale, a tribute, a warning. In the shimmering surface of the Ocean World tank, you can still see the reflection of Jake's dream. A dream that man and beast could dance together forever, but some dances aren't meant to last, where the wild is never truly tamed. And sometimes the cost of connection is your life. If you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with a friend. See you in the next video.